What's the moment you found out family loyalty had limits? My 13th birthday was supposed to be the first time I really felt like I belonged in my dad's new family. Ever since he remarried, I kept hoping that if I was patient enough, maybe things would finally click, and this house would start to feel like home again. My dad had promised me a special day, just like when it used to be the two of us in the old garage, working on his vintage Mustang, the one he always said would be mine someday if I took good care of it. On the morning of my birthday, I woke up early and saw the kitchen was full of decorations. Even my stepbrother Lucas was there early, but instead of greeting me a happy birthday, he kept making weird jokes about how real family gets real presents, and not to get my hopes up. I tried to laugh it off, but every time I looked at my stepmom, she just gave me this tight, worried smile like she was waiting for something to go wrong. Dad insisted the three of us boys spend the day together, taking us out for burgers and go-karts, going on and on about how we were brothers now, and should always have each other's backs. For a while, I let myself believe him, until after lunch, when Lucas accused me of taking the money their grandparents gave him to spend on myself for my birthday. I didn't even see the envelope, but Lucas started yelling and digging his hands into my pockets, telling Dad to be fair. I felt violated and pleaded with both of them that I didn't take anything. But then, an envelope filled with money fell on the floor. Lucas snuck a grin at an angle Dad couldn't see, and Dad looked at me with this cold disappointment I'd never seen before, telling me he was sorry, but he had to send me home early to think about what I'd done. My stepmom drove me back in silence, barely looking at me, and I kept thinking if I could just talk to Dad alone, I could prove my innocence. When I got home, my heart dropped. My room was stripped bare, my posters were gone, clothes shoved into trash bags by the door. The old family photos in the hallway now had Lucas's face smiling out where mine used to be. When I asked Dad later, he said it was better this way, that Lucas was part of the family now, and I'd broken his trust. The hardest blow came when I walked into the garage and saw Lucas sitting in the Mustang, revving the engine with my dad's hand on his shoulder, saying he'd be proud to pass it down to a son who would really appreciate it. I left before they could see me cry. For days, I barely spoke, but I started writing down what Lucas said, the exact time he first mentioned the money, how he was the only one near the kitchen that morning. On the day my parents were away, I used my phone to secretly record Lucas bragging to his friends about how easy it was to set me up, and laughing about how Dad never questioned him because my stepmom had him wrapped around her finger. With shaking hands, I sent the recording and my notes to my relatives, making sure no one would ignore the things that were happening to me. After the truth came out, Dad called me over and over saying he was sorry, but it was too late. My mom had driven hours after seeing the recordings and picked me up to come live with her. My mom didn't know anything about cars, but she bought an old Honda with dents in the doors and spent weekends learning together, getting grease on our faces, laughing at YouTube tutorials when we got stuck. She never tried to replace the memories with Dad, but she let me build new ones at my own pace. My stuff came back piece by piece, and Dad tried inviting me over, but it was never the same. I see him at holidays, and he says all the right things, but I never stay long. Now every December, my mom and I open the garage, pop the hood, and take the Honda we built for a spin.